Good morning, brothers and sisters. This is a prophecy update entitled The Days of Reckoning by Brother Damon Duck. After 7 years of Build Back Better nonsense, death, and destruction, Jesus will come back, be anointed King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and take his rightful place on the throne of David in Jerusalem. With King Jesus on the throne, the soon-to-be Day of Reckoning will be followed by 1,000 years of peace, justice, and righteousness on earth. The Day of Reckoning is close. Number 1. Concerning the reprobate minds, on October 19th, it was reported that the U.S. State Department gave $20,000 to a cultural center in Ecuador to fund 12 drag queen shows, 3 gay workshops, and a short documentary. Think about it. America's national debt now exceeds $31 trillion. Inflation is higher than it has been in about 40 years. America is running low on weapons for its military. America's strategic petroleum reserves are low. The lines at food banks are increasing. Several major cities could soon run out of water next year. And Biden's State Department is funding drag queen shows, workshops, and a documentary in Ecuador. Concerning inflation and the decline of America, around October 19th, Brian Deese, Biden's National Economic Council director, said the U.S. diesel inventories are unacceptably low and all options are on the table. This is because America's diesel inventory is now down to about a 3 weeks supply. Diesel is used in trucks, trains, ships, farm tractors, construction equipment, military equipment, and America has very little refining capacity. The average price of diesel is now more than $5 per gallon and expected to surge. Surging diesel prices will cause the price of everything that is moved on trucks and trains and ships to surge. It will also cause everything that is produced on farms to surge. Biden has been draining America's strategic petroleum reserves, but that does nothing to increase America's diesel inventories. Concerning the decline of America, on October 17th, the Washington Post reported that it has uncovered evidence that the U.S. companies funded by the Pentagon have sold hypersonic missile technology to China more than 300 times since 2019. It appears that the law has been broken more than 300 times since 2019. China's development of hypersonic missiles is a threat to the U.S., and there is not one word about anyone being prosecuted for selling these U.S. military secrets. Concerning world government, on October 21st, the Expose posted an article about the UN transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is a code name for a UN master plan to change the political and economic system of the world. The governments of the 193 nations in the UN and people in thousands of the world's large corporations that support the WEF have formed a partnership to implement the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. None of the people in the large corporations have been elected, but the purpose of the Agenda for Sustainable Development is to control every aspect of every individual's life. The goals reflect what these rich elitists want, and they are being pushed upon the whole world without the approval of individual citizens. The goals are being pushed upon society a little bit at a time, but ultimately everyone will be dependent upon a world government for their food, water, energy, shelter, medical care, and everything else, which is how these rich elitists intend to keep people under control. Concerning natural disasters, Damon says that he lives close to the Mississippi River. On October 21st, a longtime farmer and fellow church member, told him that there are hundreds of barges stranded on the Mississippi River near Hickman, Kentucky. The water level is low and barges were getting stranded, and the National Guard closed part of the river for dredging. The idled barges are costing owners thousands of dollars a day. Shipping costs that were about $25 per ton are now about $90 per ton. Further south, some barges are moving, but they can only carry a partial load or they will get stranded. Farmers are harvesting their beans now, and the fact that some barges are stranded near Hickman, Kentucky, and other barges farther south can only carry a partial load means there is a shortage of barges. The cost of everything that uses soybeans is going to soar. Concerning reprobate minds and departing from the faith, on October 22nd, Dean Dwyer wrote in Harbinger's Daily that a pastor in Australia told his church, quote, "As today we look back at the brutality of concentration camps and racially inspired violence, so future generations will look back at our day with disgust at the brutality taking place in our clinics, legalized state-sponsored execution. Lust is a sin, sex outside of marriage is a sin, and practicing homosexuality is a sin." In a later interview, the leader of Australia's opposition party said, quote, "The views that have been expressed by a pastor at this church in relation to gay people or to the issue of abortion, they're an abomination, and I condemn those points that have been made by that particular pastor." This political leader, who claims to be a Christian, condemned the teachings of the Bible on abortion, and he called them an abomination. I am not his judge, but I believe his day of reckoning is right around the corner. Concerning the signs of the second coming, Jesus said, "There shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and indeed many false messiahs have risen in Israel in recent years." Christians that study Bible prophecy know that the Jews will eventually accept a false messiah, called the Antichrist. He will eventually defile their rebuilt temple, they will realize they made a mistake, their blinding will cease, and they will accept Jesus as their true Messiah. Now we read that a group of Jewish rabbis is saying it is prophesied that the Messiah would appear in the first year after a Shemitah cycle, a 7-year cycle. The Jews could plant crops and let the land rest every 7 years, called a Shemitah cycle. They say the last Shemitah cycle ended at sundown on September 26th. Israel is in a new Shemitah cycle. This is the first year of a new cycle, and the Messiah has appeared. They claimed Messiah's name is Yanuk Rav Shemolo. They say he is the one they've been waiting for 3,000 years. He is 33 years old. Jesus died when he was about 33 years old. He has memorized the entire Torah with total comprehension, and no one has ever done that. Some religious Jews call him the living Torah. Some say he is appearing as a man, but is really an angel. There is nothing that he does not know. He injects light into us. His ancestors include Syrians and Jews, and he is an only child. Now, it's obvious that this guy is not the true Messiah. The Jews' true Messiah will appear to them at the end of the tribulation period, but these claims could be part of the reason why Israel accepts the wrong man before they get it right. On October 24th, it was reported that globalists in several Western nations are waging war on nitrogen, a main ingredient in fertilizer to stop climate change. If these climate change people succeed, many fertilizer companies will reduce their production or completely shut down their factories. The use of fertilizer will be greatly reduced or eliminated, and food shortages and famine will quickly spread all over the world. Shortages have already started, and they will go worldwide in a matter of months. The U.S. now has a radical climate change czar, John Kerry, and our nation will not be exempt. Concerning famine, on October 20th, it was reported that 7th graders in 100 primary schools in the Netherlands were served insects and mealworms for lunch. This wasn't the first time something like this has happened. 1,000 schools in Australia have been selling chips made from insects. Factories in Canada are raising crickets and selling organic cricket flour. Finally, are you rapture ready?